What's a random historical domino?
When white Christian settlers got to America, they started to notice the remains of some fancy-looking civilizations and started to ask questions as to who's to blame for these dope-ass mounds. Naturally, the culprits were the Native Americans, but that was a little too inclusive for their sensibilities. And they posited that the dark-skinned people that built them only did it when their skin was once white upon a time while they were worshiping Jesus, until there was some falling out with God and he turned their skin dark as a curse. Then a boy named Joseph Smith thought, wow, gee whiz, I wonder what kind of wars they fought and stories they had to tell, and started to make up a bunch and started telling them to his family. Then Joseph turned those stories into the Book of Mormon, including in it all the stuff about the Native Americans being lost Jews whose skin turned dark from not following Jesus in the Book of Mormon. He prayed in a grove of trees and said that God the Father and Jesus Christ talked to him and said, we are two separate people. Look at us. All the other churches, big abominations, huge disappointments. So Joseph ended up taking a bunch of wives behind his wife's back. Dozens of his closest allies got fed up and left. And Joseph's like, good riddance. You're excommunicated. Have fun in hell. Flash forward 200 years. A member of the church that Joseph founded goes by the name of Tim Ballard. He gets really interested in American history and starts writing books about how Abraham Lincoln was inspired to free the slaves because Lincoln checked out a Book of Mormon from the library. Put another way, Bible fan fiction begets American fan fiction. So Tim Ballard says to himself, what do the Pilgrims and Lincoln and the Founding Fathers and Joseph Smith and Book of Mormon prophets like Nephi all have in common? They all realize that this American continent is under covenant and we better start reading our Book of Mormon and doing missionary work, or else God is going to plunge us into a curse just like he did to the Native Americans. Mormon apostles like M. Russell Ballard loved what Tim had to say. Conservative talk show hosts like Glenn Beck ate it up. Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes became his newest, bestest pal. But ultimately, Tim was also building up a loyal Mormon fan base as he launched a production company / child rescue nonprofit called Operation Underground Railroad, in which he would go undercover to rescue children from sex slavery, film it, profit from it. And Tim's plan was to use the sizzle, as he called it, from his rescues for films and books and all that, leading back to money for him, cha-ching, to call attention to the religion that he belongs to so more people convert to Mormonism, heavenly cha-ching, and save America by restoring the covenant from the Book of Mormon so America can be prosperous once again, cha-ching for us all. So one day, Tim tried something called ketamine. And he started talking to dead relatives and God, and they were saying that he's going to be president of the United States and prophet of the Mormon Church. And then within no time, Jesus came to him and told him to recruit attractive women to play his wife, saying like, hey, when a trafficker offers a kid, block for me and say, no, we're totally into kinky sex stuff like that, but now's not a good time. So we can get the intel, get out of there. And then Tim's like, let's also practice doing husband and wife sex stuff because the traffickers can smell our pheromones. Then one day, the women went to the other people at Tim's company, OUR, and said, Tim practicing sex with us is really getting out of control. I don't think we're catching any bad guys, to put it lightly. So OUR did an internal investigation and realized, oh no, the boy's got to go. Vice News does some digging into all the complaints about Tim's inflated claims and actions, and they ask for a statement from his church. And the Mormons write back, and they're like, oh yeah, Tim Ballard, no, we didn't sell his books or endorse him. Just don't look into it any further. Don't fact check us. Just know that dude's gross, and morally, we think he sucks. All of Tim's famous Mormon pals like Glenn Beck and John Reyes are all like, we want nothing to do with Tim anymore. And Tim's like, interesting. Child sex traffickers say what? So Tim gets excommunicated from his church and he starts a new child rescue operation. Then a bunch of the former operatives at OUR file a lawsuit alleging in sickening detail all of the stuff that Tim made them do. And now, because he acted way too much like the founder of Mormonism, he wants to be a Catholic.